FIFA have suspended him provisionally for 90 days, during which time he is not allowed to participate in any activities related to football of any kind, whether it's national or international. He's not allowed to contact Gianni Hermoso directly or via third parties. No member of the federation is allowed to contact Gianni Hermoso or any of the players.
So the head coach of Spain's Women's World Cup winning side has become the latest to criticise the suspended Football Federation president, Luis Rubiales. Jorge Vilda says the moment Rubiales kissed Jennifer Hermoso on the lips was inappropriate and it was unacceptable. Well, Vilda's entire coaching staff have resigned in protest against Rubiales, but Vilda himself has not stepped down. Let's catch up now with Semra Hunter, who is a Spanish football journalist. Good morning.
Good morning.
What's the significance of the Spanish women's coach getting involved and saying that this was inappropriate and unacceptable?
I think it's just a little bit of him trying to save face. He's obviously very close to Luis Rubiales, so I think the criticism of the president is a little bit, let's say, weak, so to speak, because he also is the man who told Jorge Vilda that he is going to be extending his contract for 4 years and paying him €500,000 a year. So obviously he was not exactly going to come out and with the same tune that everybody else here in Spain is in terms of criticizing Luis Rubiales. I think also what is very disappointing is that while he does say that he's against any kind of machista attitude, he never once mentions Gianni Hermoso. He never once mentions any kind of show of support or solidarity towards his player. And again, I think that just speaks to the fact that he is still very much supportive of Rubiales, even if publicly he is trying to say, oh, yes, it was very improper, his behavior and so on. But a lot of people are still criticizing him for that he should be speaking on behalf of his player. He should be defending her. He should be standing by her rather than the president. But of course, it is understandable given the fact that they have such a close relationship and have had for such a long time.
And of course, it comes off the back of the entire coaching staff resigning.
Yes, but I think, again, it's really no surprise that Jorge Vilda hasn't stepped down because Luis Rubiales hasn't stepped down. And I don't think he's going to go unless the president goes. He's going to stay by him all the way until the very bitter end, is my suspicion. So I think no matter how many people decide to abandon the federation, how much pressure may be put on Vilda to do the same, I don't think he's going to go anywhere, as I say, until Luis Rubiales does.
Tell us a little bit about the reaction in Spain itself. There's been quite a bit of criticism over the last 24 hours or so about kind of Spanish culture, Spanish society, how women are treated. Women aren't respected in the same way as perhaps here in the UK. Does that mean that people aren't supportive of Jennifer Hermoso, or does it mean that actually people are starting to step back and go, hang on a minute, this isn't acceptable? Where are people standing on this?
It is fascinating because we have seen a progression over the last 7 days in terms of how people have been treating this whole thing. I think initially people were more surprised and shocked and really taken aback by the behavior of Luis Rubiales on such a public stage. But then a lot of the media initially actually kind of supported him, defended him and said, oh, it's not such a big deal. It's just a kiss. It's just the heat of the moment, etc. But then as more and more people in society, especially women, started to speak up and say, actually, this is not okay, and detail the reasons as to why it isn't and why it has been abused for so long and systemic abuse for so long. This is not just about the kiss itself. It really runs so much deeper than just that. This was just a symbol of the overall kind of patriarchy that is in place within football here in Spain and how it has been abusing its power regularly for years. And so finally, people did start to listen up and say, actually, you know what, maybe I am wrong at how I'm looking at this. And it also kind of became a little bit of a light bulb moment, I think, for so many people, realizing that for so long, this kind of behavior has been normalized and that the only way we can change it is if we debate it, is if we talk about it, if we make it very open and we, as uncomfortable as it is, do make a reflection of ourselves and say, right, we have to do something about this. We have to make proper change. And it can't just be, empty words. It actually has to be meaningful in some way. So steadily, there has been much more of society coming over to the side of Gianni Hermoso and showing support for her and for these women. Even last night, finally, even though we've only heard from 3 male players so far, specifically on their social media accounts. Finally, at least some other male members came forward. They didn't do so necessarily with their own words and so on, but they did come out, Sevilla players, in the lead up to their games, wearing a shirt that said #SeAcabó, which is a hashtag that has been trending on Twitter for days now. And Se acabó means it's over. And it borrows from the words of Alexia Putellas, who was the first female footballer and teammate of Jenny Hermoso to come out on social media. And she said effectively that Se acabó, it's over. So definitely there has been a change amongst society, and people are recognizing that, in fact, what he did was very wrong for all sorts of different reasons. And this is what we're calling a Me Too moment here in Spain.
Where does this leave? Well, for example, I mean, we were talking yesterday, reporting on this programme, that legal action was going to be taken against Jennifer Hermoso. We also, of course, know that FIFA stepped in yesterday and suspended Rubiales. Where are we on both of those matters? How long has he been suspended for, and what's happening with the legal action?
So FIFA has suspended him provisionally for 90 days, during which time he is not allowed to participate in any activities related to football of any kind, whether it's national or international. He's not allowed to contact Jenny Hermoso directly or via third parties. No member of the federation is allowed to contact Jenny Hermoso or any of the players via third parties either. And it really is quite interesting that they've gone so far as to say, right, we have to draw a very clear line here, because I think they are very concerned about the fact that they are planning on suing and taking their player to court, which is quite astonishing. I've never seen anything like it. And so FIFA has made it very abundantly clear, right, we have to keep these two very, very separate. There cannot be any kind of connection between them during this whole process. And I think they're also probably concerned by the fact that, by Jenny's own admission, the president and members of the federation were consistently putting pressure on her to speak out on his behalf, to try and play down the whole case and to try and help him keep his job. And beyond that, if you look at this, it just looks like bullying nonstop, not just privately, but also publicly. So I imagine that's why they have made this kind of injunction to say, listen, you've got to separate them. Apart from that, here in Spain, the government is going to continue to pursue their own procedure whenever it comes to suspension, and it eventually could lead to a ban, whether it could be anywhere from 2 to 15 years. It could be a life ban. We're still not quite sure as to what the overall outcome could be, but they will continue to pursue legal action here in Spain. Obviously, he has said he's going to open legal recourse, the same as the federation, the same as the players. So this all really could get very, very ugly indeed, even though it already has. But I think it could very well end up in the courts sometime soon.